this technology has been there for a very long time. Okay, but nobody was willing to say, hey, let's test this, because if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But COVID forced everyone to do things differently. Unemployment is high. Why are businesses struggling to hire? Okay, so there are two different things. Okay, there are two different things: unemployment and hiring. Why are they two different things? One of the reasons could be the businesses that are struggling to hire are looking for specific skill sets. Okay, they're looking for specific skill sets, and the availability of resources or people possessing or having that skill set or the knowledge or tools or whatever it is may not be there. Okay, so if let's say I am in the education industry and I need people with experience. I need people with experience to teach certain subject matters. Okay, for example, I might need someone to teach skills, strengths development. Okay, help people identify their strengths. Okay, and develop their strengths into superpowers that will help them create results easily. So that might be what I need. Those are the people I need to hire. Okay, I need people with experience working with other people. I need people with the knowledge about this whole strengths, how to identify strengths. I need people with skills to be able to develop the work with people to develop their strengths. So I might need all this very, very specific skill set, knowledge set, tool set. And these people might not be available. Okay, these people might not be available for whatever reason. They may not be available because in my country I don't have these people, or people are not willing to come, or that there may be come to my country to do that work, or there could be other barriers. Okay, that it's difficult to get employment pass, okay, or work permits or whatever it is to be here to do that work. Okay, so as a business, it might be difficult for me to find people to engage, okay, to be part of my team. Okay, so that's the one part. Okay, and so businesses may be struggling to hire. So another example is the F&B industry. The F&B industry in Singapore, or the retail industry in Singapore, are having challenges hiring, because the type of people that they're looking for, the people who can work in F&B environments, okay, or the cooks, the servers and all that, or in retail assistants and all that, may not be available, okay, manpower in the country. Okay, and I might not be able to bring people in, or the people in the country are not willing to do these jobs, okay, because they're looking for something else. Maybe they have a different skill set, okay, or knowledge, experience, whatever it is. So there's a shortage of labor that makes it difficult for businesses to hire. Then unemployment now, so that's the demand side. Okay, then on the supply side, okay, the people who are looking for jobs, okay, who may have different things that they are looking for. Okay, they may have different skill sets, they may have different knowledge, they may have different desires, they may have different goals, they may have different things that they're looking for in a job that the businesses that are hiring are not providing as. So there isn't a match. One of the things that's occurring also is that younger people have got a very different way of looking at things. There are things that they're looking for in a job. For example, flexibility. Okay, flexibility, they're looking for freedom, they're looking for different ways to work, they're not looking for 9 to 5 type of jobs. So for all these reasons, okay, so there are things that they value. Okay, the things that they value, besides the skill sets or knowledge sets or whatever it is, the things that they're looking for that they value, they don't want to work long hours. They don't want to work long hours. They don't want to stay in one place. There are things that they want and desire in their lives that they don't see, and they don't see themselves in a certain environment doing certain types of jobs. And then you have companies that may be okay. So the first thing is mismatch. Okay, mismatch of skill sets and knowledge and all that. Okay, the second case is difference in values and perspectives and context and things that people are looking for, especially like young people. The example I'm giving is like younger people, and then we have old businesses run by the older generation. Okay, who are looking for a certain type of, or who are providing certain types of environments. For example, okay, you need to come to the office. Okay, you need to come to the office to work. Okay, 9 to 5, or you need to be doing certain jobs. You need to spend a lot of time and you need to do your overtime and all those things. And the younger people don't want to get into these jobs. Okay, so the younger people don't want to get into these jobs because there's a difference in value systems. There's a difference in perceptions. There's a difference in motivation. Yeah. So yeah, Chuno. Yeah. So I'm just describing a little bit of this. Okay. And so yeah. So Chuno is absolutely right. Okay. There is something that is starting to happen as well. Okay, post COVID, we've got lots of technology now. We don't actually need to. A lot of people just go to the office, sit in front of the computer. Okay, sit in front of the computer, use shared resources, have meetings face to face, interact with each other, okay, in the same way that they've done for a very, very long time. When they no longer need today with technology, we can interact with each other without being physically with each. If I'm going to the office to sit in front of a computer, okay, for 8 hours, then why can't I sit in front of a computer at home for 8 hours, given that I can be connected to the internet and be able to access all the resources, information, and all that I need. Okay, so it was an experiment that nobody was willing, because the mindset or the belief was, for a lot of the older generation people, if I don't see you in the office sitting at your desk working, then how do I know that you're working? Okay, so that was part of that mindset. But when COVID happened, nobody could go to the office. Okay, but businesses need to continue to run. Right, you cannot say, oh, just because people don't come to the office, okay, that the business will end. No, so we figured a way. Okay, we figured a way, and a lot of technology started to show up. Okay, like Zoom, like collaborative software and all that. The thing is, this technology has been there for a very long time. Okay, for years. Okay, but nobody was willing to say, hey, let's test this, because if it ain't broke, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But COVID forced everyone to do things differently, and people started to realize. Okay, so two things happened. The first thing was people started to realize, hey, I don't need to go to the office. I don't need to spend 1 hour getting in the office. I don't have to spend 1 hour coming back home. Okay, I have the 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week, I can do something else. I can go to the gym, I can work out, I can whatever it is. Okay, so people started to realize, hey, we don't actually need to do that. Okay, we don't actually need to go to the office and do work. Okay, and it still works. Businesses can still run. Okay, we can do a Zoom call and have meetings. So technology and so it accelerated a lot of technology that was already there. Okay, it accelerated the development of a lot of technology that was already there. Then after COVID was over, people could go back to the office. They didn't want to go back anymore, because it's like, why do I need to go back? Because I can do the same work at home. I can be more productive. I have flexibility of time. I'm able to do a lot more with. And then there's some companies that insist, no, you need to come back, because if you're not there, then you're not working. Okay, so then this started to create a shift. Okay, and the younger people who are very, very versed, who grew up with technology, started to say, no, I don't want to do this, because if I wanted now, the other thing was this: if I wanted to work for a company that's not in my country, what used to be required in the past, I need to travel to that country where that business was, in order to work for that business, or to work in that company. But that's no longer true. Okay, we can be anywhere. As long as I've got a computer and internet connection, I can actually be anywhere in the world. And there are some companies that embrace this and started to transition into this environment. There are other companies that stayed stuck in industrial age practices, that insisted that, no, you need to be here. Okay, who's going to win? Who's going to win? The companies that are a lot more flexible. So the Great Resignation started. People started to not want to do things the old way anymore. Okay, and all these companies that insisted on doing things the old way started to get challenged by, hey, I'm not able to hire people. Okay, so that's one thing that happened. The unemployment high thing, okay, is a different conversation. Okay, it is sometimes by choice, because now so unemployment is a statistic. Okay, unemployment is a statistic that is measured, okay, by looking at people who are in jobs or not in jobs. And for a lot, and so in this case, are not in jobs by choice. Okay, they are not considered hired by companies. But the thing, the other thing that also happened is people discovered different ways of generating an income that was not part of industrial age practice. People started to discover different ways of generating income that didn't require for them to be employed by a company. Then they realized, wow, I can make money. I can make money with my knowledge, skills, and tools that I have, doing it for myself. Because now with technology, I can actually reach. Right, I'm no longer limited by my geography. I'm not limited by my wherever I am. I can actually even choose to travel from country to country. What we call digital nomads. Okay, people who are mobile. People who are mobile to move from place to place and being able to choose wherever they want to work from. Okay, but all these people are not considered, they're not underemployment. Okay, so when we look at unemployment numbers, it reflects that as well. So unemployment numbers could be high, but they are actually generating their own income in the way that they are doing, that they want to do. Okay, so there are all these things that are going on right now. So there's a massive shift that is happening in how businesses operate. Okay, there are businesses that will evolve, who will create a new way of operating. There are businesses that insist on the old way, who will be stuck. Okay, because the world is evolving very, very quickly. Okay, so the employment, difficulty hiring, unemployment are different components, not necessarily always the same thing. Okay, there's lots and lots of things happening in the world today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification button. This is Thekampungkid signing out. Be the master you already are.